a look at the matchups here and who we'll see for our starting five for both teams. First, for the Nets, Deron Williams and Joe Johnson at the 1 and 2. And inside out of Stanford University, a skilled post scorer with tremendous size, the 7-footer, Brook Lopez. Then it's Pierce, and it's Garnett in at the power forward position. And for Indiana, George Hill at the 1, Paul George at the 2. And starting 7'2", one of the true giants in the game, another great big man out of Georgetown, Roy Hibbert. Then there's Danny Granger, and it's West in at power forward. Offensive rebound, Lopez. And that basket's going to count, folks. Gets the goaltending call right there.
He thought he had that one clean, but the ref saw it differently. They'll count the basket.
A lot of noise coming from these fans. Pretty unhappy with that call.
Well, you know, we've got a lot of amateur officials in the crowd, and not one of them liked it.
The 3 from George. Cannot hit.
Well, you look at Paul George, my man, PG-24, the young swingman out of Fresno State. Boy, he had a terrific year last season, was the most improved player last season, and a first-time NBA All-Star. Consider how young he is. Just turned 23. And he's got the potential to make plenty more All-Star games. And I think he could ultimately be a Defensive Player of the Year at some time in his career.
And for Paul George, the 10th pick back in 2010, what a terrific find for the Pacers.
Well, he was already a good player, but I think the injury to Danny Granger last season created the opportunity for George to really emerge as an all-star. And that's exactly what he did. Dangerous inside and out, excellent defensive player, has a chance to be really special.
Johnson, the pass to Lopez. Here's Garnett. Rebounded by Granger. Indiana's gone 1 of 3 from beyond the arc so far in the game. Hibbert kicks to George. Hibbert with a screen for George. Off the pick. That's not as easy as you made it look, guys. You've got to have some skills to pull that baby off.
Well, he's got plenty of those skills necessary for him.
Man.
Oh, you know it. The guy can climb the ladder, can't he?
Here is Williams. The Pacers making the shot. Pierce against Hill. 18 feet out. Danny Granger, the bucket on the assist by Hill. Granger's got his first points of the night.
You know, I think when you've got somebody that open on the perimeter, a good shooter, the kickout's the only choice.
Well, if the Pacers wanted to grab the attention of the league with their postseason play, they certainly did that. They marched through the first 2 rounds by knocking off the Hawks and the Knicks. And, well, remember, they were a game away from the NBA Finals.
The Pacers have gone 50% from the field, hitting 3 of 6 since the opening tip. From deep, George gets it to go. George has got 5 points so far.
That's like a layup for him. He's just wide open out there.
Ultimately, the Pacers would fall to the Heat, but they put them to the test. I don't think there's any doubt about that. They gained respect league-wide even more than they had going into the playoffs. It took, 7 games, Clark, and you saw them all, which a lot of folks didn't see coming.
I know that's the case, and yet the way the Pacers showed such grit in that series indicates they can compete with anybody. And you have a defensive anchor like they do in Roy Hibbert, they've got a chance to be a championship team before long.
Williams, Granger covering. And Williams, here we go.
Well, he's got to watch himself now. I mean, that's 2 fouls already, and he can't afford another one.
You know, Deron Williams is so strong and so poised in the post. I'd like to see him down on the block a little bit more often. There are very few point guards in this league who really have the strength to deal with Williams in a post-up situation.
And the Nets making a change here. Watch us check in.
He has such terrific form and consistency on his free throw. Beautiful to watch.
Hill kicks to George. Good, and it's Hill picking up the assist. Hill's got 3 assists in the game. And for Deron Williams, he is very versatile.
Yeah, he can pass it, shoot it, drive it, kills you with the crossover. And he's got excellent size that allows him to back you down, too. He can put you in the washing machine and take you for a spin every now and then.
Knocks it loose. It's going by Hill. For the finish. And the dunk by Scola.
Well, they had a pretty good grasp of the game plan coming into this one. That's been very apparent.
team gets a double-digit lead in the first quarter, Steve, you could be headed for blowout city.
The Nets making a switch here. Let's find out what Doris Burke has for us.
I had a chance to talk with the head coach for Brooklyn, and the conversation turned to how they plan to slow down Danny Granger. He said Danny's so tough because of his length, mobility, and shooting ability. You've got to play up and then try to surprise him with double teams. Make him a passer. Makes sense, Kevin. Back to you.
And as always, Doris, thank you. To stop the run, and Granger with the block.
His touch has disappeared on him this quarter. He just hasn't been able to get it going.
And he gets contact and the whistle on the shot. 2 shots coming up. And there's the call. Brooklyn the foul. And what do you guys think so far about the offensive approach for the Pacers?
It looks like they're ready to run, fellas. I mean, they haven't hesitated at all to get out on the break so far.
Yeah, and I've noticed also that their quick hands have led to a lot of forced turnovers. They're getting some points in transition as a result.
Now here's Williams. And he banks in the layup.
You know, there's no fear out of him, guys. I mean, going straight to the hoop against a much bigger defender, he's got a lot of heart.
Watson kicks to Scola. That's good, and the assist goes to Watson.
Well, head coach Jason Kidd, that's a phrase I didn't expect to hear this quickly, but Kidd wasted no time. Only a matter of weeks after he announced his retirement as a player, he was named the head coach of the Brooklyn Nets. And it's going to be interesting to see the transition. Kidd, obviously, great basketball IQ, so well respected as a person in the league. I think it's just a matter of time before he really finds his footing and becomes an excellent coach.
Williams can't get it to go.
He's been wayward and just off on about everything he's put up in this period.
The tray. Jaron Williams grabs the miss. Williams has got 3 rebounds now in this one. And the dunk by Evans. I like that they're taking it inside and taking advantage of each opportunity, Clark, to chip away at the deficit.
Yeah, and doing it with the dunk is a major energizer, too. Gets the momentum going.
Yeah, and I think the interior defense, as good a job offensively as we saw. The defensive presence was almost non-existent. They may see this lead disappear if they continue to give up those easy points.
The Nets have been solid at the line so far, 4 for 4.
And not a very strong free throw shooting team in general. Guys, they shot 73% as a team a year ago.
And that just has to improve, guys. I mean, the free throw shooting is something that has to get better. You're immediately putting yourself at a disadvantage when you shoot that poorly from the line.
What a start they've gotten off to. A big lead for them, and we're not even out of the first quarter yet.
And it's not just their hot offense here. I mean, they're playing very strong defense.
And welcome back. It's been all one-sided so far through the first quarter as our second quarter gets underway. And guys, we've seen a confident-looking Pacers team out there.
The defense was really impressive there, guys, in that first quarter. They came out focused right from the beginning.
And, Steve, that's a big part of why they're on top right now. Textbook example there of how to use defense to create offense.
Yeah, beautiful transition play after the steal all the way to the basket.
Wasted no time going from defense to offense.
Well, it feels like they're starting to pick up the intensity as the game itself starts to get a little more tight and close.
Indiana leading by 11.
You know, as great as 2012 was for the Nets, in many ways, they really came up short on their last game of that calendar year in 2012. The New Year's Eve matchup against the Spurs, the Nets only scored 5 points in the third quarter of that contest.
And for Brooklyn, they're shooting at 36% in the night. They've got to step it up offensively. Terry with it, now defended by Stevenson. Williams fires, and it's wide right. It's off the rim. Indiana's gotten a success rate of just over 50% from three-point tonight. 4 of 7 shooting. And Clark, you were talking about the Nets. They went from looking like a team that could compete for a title to a team that, while still talented, Steve, and a lot for the playoffs, was a little closer to the middle of the pack than they thought.
Well, with the hot start they got off to, I think it was just a matter of time before they hit a cold stretch. And never fun to be held to just 5 points in a quarter. Man, that game had a lot of Nets fans wondering how the rest of the season would go. But, hey, they got it back together and still finished off pretty well.
From deep, Stevenson for a rebound by the Nets. Williams inside. He has 6. Now the Pacers moving it up. Stevenson with the ball. Let's go now to the sideline and catch up with Doris Burke. Hey, Doris.
Gentlemen, Paul George was the number 10 pick back in 2010. He's exceeded expectations and has now become a cornerstone player for the Pacers at both ends. George said, quote, "When I step on the floor, I feel like I'm the best player out there. Whether it's LeBron or Carmelo, defensively, I'm good enough to force turnovers and bring him to reality. Offensively, I want that pressure to be the go-to guy." Kevin, a lot of confidence, but he's got the talent to deliver on that ambition.
Unlimited potential, Doris. Thank you very much.
Yeah, he's still rounding out his game. He has all the physical tools you could want, but it's just a matter of continuing to put in the work.
And out of bounds as the Pacers gain possession. Indiana leading by 14.
Well, you look at the Joe Johnson trade for the Nets. They picked up his max contract from the Hawks, committing $80 million over 4 years. But, you know, last season, his lowest point output in over a decade, a down season overall. But, hey, there's a lot of talent on this team. He's not expected to score as much anymore.
He's against Hill. Johnson against Hill. And the shot is good from Johnson. Johnson's got his second basket of the game. Indiana's gone 1 of 2 on three-pointers here in the second quarter so far. And for the Nets, they started the season doing some of that isolation offensively for Joe Johnson that we saw in Atlanta, Clark.
And even with the most efficient individual scorers, that's not usually the way to go offensively over the long haul. With Joe going through a bit of a lull in terms of his shooting percentages, I thought they might have been better served to anchor the offense around Brook Lopez inside.
And the shot is good. That's 12 points for Paul George.
How many times have we seen a possession like that from them today, ending with a basket coming off a pretty pass?
Well, if you just looked at assists as the measuring stick, they've been by far the better team.
And the call will be against George Hill. That is his first foul of the game. And here in the second quarter of action as we approach 4 minutes played. It's stolen by West.
That pass never had a chance there. His timing was perfect in going after that steal.
And so he earns a trip to the line. Officials saw the contact and he'll shoot two.
Well, he's an exciting young player. Almost 6'10", great athleticism, length, dynamic finisher at the rim, and he can guard multiple positions defensively.
And you know what, Steve? His growth defensively has been just as impressive. He uses that length to great advantage, contesting shots and coming away with deflections and steals.
Andre Bloch, he's checked in for Brooklyn. And that one's on target from the wing. Johnson's got 4 points now in the quarter.
Well, guys, for the Pacers, it's been a slow and long climb from the Malice at the Palace back in 04. But now, with a terrific young team, fresh off a strong showing in the Eastern Conference Finals, we can finally say the Pacers are back, and they're going to be around for a while contending for championship.
It's stolen by Hill. And now the fast break. Hill with the ball. And the powerful one-handed slam.
Terrible transition defense there.
I think it would have been pointless, Steve. There was no way anybody was beating him to the basket there.
Johnson dishes to Terry. It's off his foot. And the ref's saying he kicked it. And for the Pacers, ever since that unfortunate night in Detroit, the attendance in Indiana has sagged. They've been at the bottom half, percentage-wise, Steve, for the last 9 years.
Well, it's time for the fans to come back, Kevin. This is an elite team. They've got really high character, good guys. Ticket prices are about 60% less than the league norm. One of the best arenas in the NBA, and hey, it's Indiana. I mean, this is a basketball state.
Indiana leading by 18. Hill left side. Back to Granger. Pierce with the steal. Here's Johnson, and it's sent back by George. For Indiana, they've gone 6 of 10 from the floor here in the second quarter. Pass to Hill for 3. Rebound, Bloch.
Not able to find it here in the second. He's off stride and off track just a bit after that one he had earlier.
Again, Pierce missing. Indiana's gone 1 of 4 from three-point range in the second. Not a whole lot dropping out there for them. Hill kicks to George. And stolen by Darren Williams. It's 9 seconds separating the shot clock and game clock. Pierce, 11 feet out, and he hits it. There's 25 seconds left to play in the first half. The drive by Hill. And he drops it in from the low post. Hill's got 9.
You know, it seems like when they've gone to him, he's really come through. And that's not something they should get away from.
Outside Kirilenko. Pass to Pierce. Gets it off. And it would have counted had it fallen, but it's offline. A dominating first half of basketball, and so far hasn't been close. Pacers lead
now. Presented by Sprint.
Glad to have you with us for halftime. I'm your host,
The Sprint Halftime Report. Presented by Sprint.
Well, it's been a one-sided affair so far through the first 2 quarters, but there's plenty of time to mount a comeback.
Terrific game for George. He's got 14 points, and he's knocked down a pair of three-pointers in this game, too.
Well, they might want to think about setting a few more screens for him to try to give him another open look or two.
Now let's go to Doris Burke. Doris?
Yes, guys, the Brooklyn Nets going all in this season. With a team payroll of about $100 million, they have an additional luxury tax bill of around $75 million. Guys, the owner's sparing no expense in constructing this roster. But no question, a high burden of expectation for what they'll achieve. It's championships or bust.
No doubt about that. Thank you, Doris.
The rapid-fire threes coming from everywhere.
I thought it might be a little prudent to try to get those points right back, but it worked.
And the shot is good from Johnson.
You know, he's knocking down his shots today, but it hasn't really translated to the scoreboard yet. You know, one part of Joe Johnson's game that tends to get overlooked, guys, is his ability to create space with the dribble. He's got great size, and that ability makes him the potent scorer he is.
The Pacers shooting their 5th and 6th free throws of the game.
Well, they were 75% free throw shooting a season ago.
And for Joe Johnson, as you mentioned, Clark, great size, and he's comfortable truly, Steve, from shooting anywhere on the floor.
Yeah, and whether it's a spot up or off the dribble, he can go either direction. He's so strong, excellent ball handling ability, but I think he could do a little more damage inside if he chose to. He's got the body to be a good post-up player.
And there's the rejection. That's out of bounds. Brooklyn will retain possession. Now a timeout call by Brooklyn.
The Nets had a really solid debut season in Brooklyn last year. They made the big move in trading for Joe Johnson, but they also made some small adjustments that paid off for him as well.
And Brooklyn has possession. It's an 18-point game. Hill against Williams. Williams gets a screen from Garnett. Now here's Williams. He's tightly guarded. Just 4 to shoot. Second shot opportunity. Can't hit. Great D that time from Hibbert. Clark, as you said, a lot of people thought they would just be a top-heavy team with their starters doing a lot of the heavy lifting. But, Steve, they got contributions from all around.
Well, they didn't have big-name players on the bench, but they had some guys like Watts and Evans who were kind of under the radar, but came in and played very well for this team a year ago. Now, of course, you got big names across the roster for the Nets.
And Indiana making a change here. Stevenson's checked in. Johnson with it. George picks him up. Johnson, the pass to Williams. Back to Johnson. Fires at the elbow. And it's Johnson again missing. Outside, George. Puts it up from 15. Williams with the defensive effort.
Still a bit chilly from the field at the start of this third quarter. 1 of 4 so far.
The shot by Johnson, no good.
You know, Frank Vogel is one of the youngest head coaches in the NBA, and in college at Kentucky, he pestered the coaches relentlessly until they gave him a role as a student manager for the Wildcats. And that determination and resolve has served him well as he's worked himself into an outstanding head coach in the NBA.
Guys, they're looking for a way to score here.
Yeah, they've had a tough time getting the lid off the basket so far.
Outside Williams. Paul George with the steal. And he makes no mistake on the slam dunk.
Boy, I love it. Active hands on the steal, active feet on the fast break.
And Clark power on the dunk.
And guys, this is just too close of a game to be giving the ball up like that and then failing to get back in transition.
And Lance Stevenson picks up the foul. That is his first foul of the game. And for Vogel, an assistant for 10 years in the NBA, and when a coaching turnover moved him into the interim head coaching position in 2011, Steve, he grabbed the reins and didn't look back.
No, he didn't. The results speak for themselves. As the teams responded to him, the organization has shown its faith in Coach Vogel, giving him an extension, and he led that club to a deep playoff run a year ago, one game from the finals.
That's good, and the assist goes to Watson. Watson's got his fourth assist with that last one here tonight. Garnett with the screen for Johnson. Knocked away. Stolen by Stevenson. And a foul called on the shot. Got him on the way up that time, so he'll shoot two right here.
Well, Indiana's success last season was built around its defensive prowess, and they usually would set the tone at the start of the game. They were one of the best in the league at allowing the fewest first-quarter points.
Brook Lopez is checked in for Kevin Garnett. Williams kicks to Lopez. 14 feet away. Oh, went in there and tried to power it down, but drew contact. He'll head to the line. It's going to be on David West.
Yeah, he absorbed the foul and had a chance to knock it down.
And that's all you can ask right there. I like that play.
Going back to the Pacers once more, you knew they wanted to emphasize defense each game, and Steve, they would always come out and get right in the offensive player's face to start the game.
And they allowed the fewest first-quarter points of any team in the league last year, Kevin. That's a great way to kind of set the tempo, set the tone in a ball game. And the Pacers were able to establish that defense right away.
And it's going to be out of bounds. The Nets will retain possession. Danny Granger, he's checked in for Chris Copeland. Now a timeout called by Brooklyn.
You know, the Nets really turned things around last season, guys, and a big part of that was them turning around their road record a bit. Turned some of those losses into wins, and much better on the road. It got them the 4th seed in the East.
Lopez kicks to Pierce. It's stolen by West. And now running up the court, Stevenson pushing it up. And foul called as he misses. He'll go to the line and shoot two.
Look at the free throw percentage. Unblemished since halftime, Clark. That's pretty nice.
I'd go farther than that, Steve. How about perfect?
And for the Nets, who looked so much better when they were out on the road last season, actually ended with the second-best road record, Steve, in the Eastern Conference.
And you remember their hot start to the season last year. Well, a lot of that was them coming in ready and winning games on the road. Eventually, they cooled off, made a coaching change, and then all the huge offseason moves. So this is really something to watch this year. A pretty exciting club.
Three-pointer, Granger. It's good, and Watson picking up the assist. Watson's got 5 assists tonight, and breaking down some numbers here, the hustle stats for the Pacers.
Their defense has been outstanding, Kevin, closing out on shots and blocking a lot of them as well.
Something that's also benefited them tonight are the turnovers they forced and the points that have come along with those forced turnovers.
On the wing, Granger. The dish to Stevenson. No good on the three.
They've been able to get out to this lead without really getting a very reliable performance out of him from the field.
Evans slams it back in.
No tip required when you've got room to make the stuff.
Has some powerful second chance points right there.
Yeah, he wasn't wasting any time. Straight back up and right into the hoop.
Right side, Williams. Lets it go. Again, the miss by Williams.
You just assume he's going to knock those down when he's as open as he was there.
He got it up. No good trying to beat the buzzer. And at the end of the third quarter, a huge lead in this one may all. And we welcome you back as we get going here in the fourth quarter. The final quarter of play can change everything. And here are the Pacers now. Watson kicks to Stevenson. Kept alive by Indiana. Here's Scola. Granger. Got a piece of it. Stolen by Terry. Johnson with it. Scola covering. Johnson kicks to Williams. Back to Johnson. Puts up a three. And the Nets another three.
That shot becomes effortless for him when the D is so relaxed. They've got to get more intense.
Watson kicks to Scola. And he can't bank that one in. Nets trail by 21. Here's Johnson. And the layup's good off the glass. Johnson's got 12 points here in the second half.
Boy, how's that for a quick possession?
Yeah, it sure was. I mean, he didn't waste any time getting down the court, did he?
No coverage that time. And the Pacers lead by 21. Now Williams. Kicks to Johnson. The pass to Blotch. The Pacers pull it in. Scola's got 3 rebounds so far in the game. The D got there too late, and he'll go to the line.
You know, in order to win your division, you have to be able to win games against the rest of your conference, and that's exactly what Indiana did last season. A tough team in a tough division, and they gave no ground to other teams in the East.
And the Pacers, as you mentioned, Clark, very solid against the other teams in the East as they would cruise to a 31-20 record against the rest of the conference.
And really, that's because this team is built to handle anything that's thrown at them. Given it's a big, strong, kind of old-school team that will pound you inside, they rebound, they protect the paint. There aren't a lot of matchups that seem to bother this team.
Granger from outside. The offensive rebound. Outside for George. Scola, a screen on Johnson. George, taken away by Kirilenko. Game moves along. 2 minutes gone here in the fourth. And Scola with the block. And that's out of bounds. Brooklyn will retain possession. Jaron Williams checked in for Brooklyn. A three off the inbound. And the rebound goes to the Pacers. Hibbert's got his 4th rebound with that last one here tonight. He tries for 3. Granger kicks to George. George gets a screen from Hibbert. The 3 from Hill. Can't get it to go. So Brooklyn will take it the other way. Williams dishes to Johnson. And it's Roy Hibbert with the rebound. Hibbert's got rebound number 5 here tonight.
I'd love to see them impose their will a little bit more on the backboard. Usually that's a great way to take control of the game.
Well, they haven't been able to do that yet, but it's something they're certainly capable of.
And goaltending is going to be the call, so they get the basket there anyway.
He almost got to that shot in time, but not quite. You can't touch the ball once it's on the way down.
And that call gets an instant reaction from the fans.
Well, that's a whistle that did not go over very well.
And the Nets making a change here. Garnett's checked in.
Well, it's not often you find a player like Paul George who, as tall as he is, can play 2 guard. But when you do, you're going to see some really big numbers in rebounding from him. And that's what George does. He wants to average double-digit rebounds.
And Clark, you mentioned the height of Paul George. 6'8" when he was drafted. He actually grew to 6'10" in his rookie season, Steve. So he's a young guy that's continuing to grow both on the floor and physically.
Yeah, he may be 7'2" by his 4th year. I'll tell you, though, he gives you powerful with size and rebounding with guard skills. It's easy to see why the Pacers are so excited about it.
Does he remind you of anybody in particular?
A bit like Scottie Pippen, early in his career. Maybe not quite as strong as Scottie, but a similar skill set.
Interesting. Pacers leading by 16. Hill kicks to Scola. And that's out of bounds. Indiana will retain possession. And George, here we go. Gets it to go. George has got 24 points.
Dropped that one in as soft as a feather using the finger roll.
Johnson with it. George picks him up, and it's Paul George with the foul. That's his first foul. David West, he's checked in for Indiana. Williams against Hill. Williams attacking. Moves back up, and that's 2 points on the layup. Watch has got 6 here in this quarter.
Just seems like they're finding an open lane to the hoop every time down. That's 5 buckets in a row for them in the paint.
Yeah, on the flip side, Steve, the defenders have to show more fight on the interior.
Well, that just adds to what's probably an already insurmountable lead. I think they'll be walking out of here with a pretty easy victory.
Steve, I think that's a given.
And Brooklyn making a change here. Lopez is checked in. Pierce against Granger. Pierce the pass to Williams. Poked loose. And now the fast break. Hill with the ball. George misses off the left iron. On the wing, Williams. Looking to end his cold spell. It's rebounded by Indiana.
Well, ever since the second half started, he's been ice cold. Very little going his way right now.
George dishes to Hibbert. Some nice passing here by Indiana. West setting the pick for Hill. With the lead pass. No good. Good D by Lopez.
Couldn't convert, but nice little two-man game there.
And it wouldn't surprise me to see them go back to that the next trip.
And a new group in for the Nets. Andre Bloch, he's checked in for Lopez. Evans comes in for Kevin Garnett. Andre Kirilenko's checked in for Paul Pierce. And it's Terry in for Joe Johnson. He feeds it to Stevenson. Passes it to Watson. His 3 pointers off the mark. The Nets have gone 7 of 16 from the field here in the fourth. That's about 43%. And it's Terry off the drive. Rejected by Copeland. Watson with it. He's against Evans. And the officials call goaltending, so they'll award the basket.
And the fans loving what's transpired here tonight. A really good victory for these guys.
Sure was. I mean, they did just what they needed to do to keep the visitors from getting any momentum going at all.
Terry off the pick from Evans. Terry kicks to Evans. 6 to shoot. Back to Terry. A 3 ball. And it's Terry again missing. From deep. No good there. So no problem for Indiana as they get the win. Not much to be critical of with this win, Clark.
Not at all.